A very warm welcome to all my viewers to the Sentinels Newsmakers. And on the show today, I have Mr. Rajeev Agarwal. He is the director, SM Group. SM Group is a leading business house from the Northeast with prominent presence in states like Assam, Meghalaya. They are also present in a big way in West Bengal. And the group is fast increasing their footprint across the Northeast region. Mr. Agarwal, thank you so much for joining me in Sentinels Newsmakers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Oineetom, for a wonderful introduction and warm wishes to all of you.
Thank you. So, at the very outset, as a leading industrialist, want to know about your thoughts, your observations on the announcements made so far by the government. Do you think these are steps in the right direction to revive industry and reboot the economy?
Right. So, looking at the pandemic, COVID-19, obviously the central government with a host of Atmanirbhar Bharat, schemes is trying to structure the supply side. But what really is required is much more to do on the demand side. Because even
Right.
today, as and when we speak, there are people like me who have reopened the factories, who have
Mhm.
reopened their shops, but you don't see people coming in. You don't see workers and laborers on the field because largely the migration or no migration, it has make everyone cautious to move out on the fields or move out on the roads.
Right.
So a lot of living with the COVID-19,
Mhm.
understanding that it can happen to anyone, and
Right.
then also reasoning out the daily work schedule, so that the
Yes.
people return to the normal. Uh, a lot of
Hmm.
efforts will need by both the central governments and the state governments.
Absolutely. So I would also, yeah, of course, that means, maybe this limited easing of lockdown, like movement of the workforce, and also people in general coming in and walking into the shops and everything. So all of those things has to be addressed. Only then will we see real movement as far as reviving the industry or the economy is concerned, right?
Yes, absolutely. There can be some exceptions that the
Yes.
government is trying to give to certain sectors, but
Mhm.
end of the day, everything is supply chain linked, and no one industry can run on its own without the supply chain working as efficiently as the primary unit. So that is the reality.
Right. So also, what are the real pain points of the industry, and has the government been able to, kind of uh, catch those and address exact the issues that the industry is facing?
So one thing that I feel in our country, businessman and business are not distinguished. Your personal wealth is immediately
Hmm.
benchmarked with the industry you run, because people feel ये तो बड़ा आदमी है, ये manage कर लेगा.
Huh.
But we forget that the fundamentals of the business needs to be restored on its own merit, and not
Hmm.
just because the businessman is a bada aadmi. And this is also rightly highlighted by many others, uh, including Mr. Nitin Gadkari, that
Right.
I was following him on one of his shows, where he
Hmm.
says that we need to make more merit to the business, and these are the times when business needs merit. So the merit again has to be restored into the business itself. And I'm trying to go a little philosophical, but fundamentally the philosophy has been distorted. Hence, I'm going on the fundamentals.
Right. 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 So, yes, you did get into a bit of a philosophy, but like you said, that was necessary to drive your point home. Therefore, you became a little philosophical, and you also mentioned Nitin Gadkari's point there, how the government should actually differentiate between the industry and the business person, the businessman. Those things need to be looked into by the government while framing the policies. Now, moving on, there's a lot of labor force that's coming back to Assam, to Northeast. Many of them will be skilled labor as well. So, do you look at it as a plus point? Because generally speaking, we are looking at this entire influx that's happening as not much of a positive thing, but as a huge challenge for the government as well. So, as an industry, do you think this is going to be a positive for you all? The skilled labor coming back.
So first and foremost, I like to correct the word to skilled worker than the skilled labor,
All
because
right.
the person
Like
who is
that.
returning, the
Yes.
person who is returning is far better skilled, than getting skilled in his own home.
Right.
So
Yes.
we are getting a rare opportunity of trying to absorb better talent who have come back home and who were part of the brain drain or part of
Yes.
the physical movement that they had to undergo in order to earn a living outside the Northeast.
Right.
A rare opportunity to
Yes.
convert them into rural industry clusters by the respective state government, because these youth are far better exposed, they are far more
Yeah.
skilled, and they are far more confident.
Right.
If we talk about not just rural enterprise that these people can create on their own, we could also, through the state government, link them on lot of upcoming opportunities under the skill development mission, where they could become the mentor to the new mentees. And
Right.
because they come from certain trades where they are experts, they don't need to just own up another enterprise or another occupation. They can very well become the teacher of that particular, or the trainer of that particular trade. So
Right.
government should handle this rare opportunity, uh, actually as an opportunity, and
Mm,
not
mm, mm.
somehow cry that we are getting influx with our own people, because when they are our own people, how can it be called an influx?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. So you look at this more as an opportunity, a rare opportunity that the government and the industry should leverage upon.
Absolutely.
So if I may request you to analyze the economic package and the measures by the taken by the RBI so far, uh, how would you react to both these steps? Are these enough for a revival?
So firstly, every business has certain fixed overheads. Fixed overheads in terms of manpower, fixed overheads in terms of administrative cost, fixed overheads in terms of even paying for your light and electricity, even when you're not consuming it, which is popularly called as fixed charge.
Right.
So a lot of such fixed charge are already owned by the businesses, whether small or big. In nowhere the central government or the state government in toto has agreed that they will provide us the support to pay off these fixed costs. Few
Yeah.
states, they have come out with their own policy decision to waive off the fixed charge of electricity, but largely all the businesses were supposed to and are supposed to take care of their people and their administrative costs.
Okay.
What government has actually done is given you a breather in terms of a loan, so that you could pay off these fixed overheads, and the
Right.
money that you need to pay off these overheads is available on an interest, not interest free, but on an interest
Yeah.
at banking rates, or almost the regular banking rates, which can provide you the respite in case you have a fund crunch. But it does not provide the the business house, or the businessman, or the business enterprise the facility to
Yeah.
pay overheads through an external support from the government. So there's no grants coming in, which is very, very clearly set out in these packages.
Right.
If you are if you're an MSME, you have the auto loan of 20% of your working capital loan, which is available. If you are a MSME in distress, there is a fund of funds which they are trying to help, and they will do a mother daughter funding structure, which is a little complicated to understand now. Maybe we will
Right.
understand it a little better when it is getting implemented.
Yes.
And for those MSMEs who are viable and who have a growth opportunity, the government is talking about a fund of funds so that it can be again invested and it can be used for scaling up of the enterprise. Apart from
Right.
that, the fund that they are depositing in the PF, or they are reducing the tax deductible at source, are
Yes.
very minimal support which can help the business enterprise, uh, appreciate the government's support to them. So
Okay.
I've done a fair bit of analysis in between. I
Yes.
hope you got me. I hope you got me.
Yeah. So, in a way, if I have understood you correctly, they have announced quite a bit, but what is the immediate requirements of any industry might not be met in the correct manner. Of course, there are a lot of funds, a lot of loan coming in, a lot of money coming in, but what the amount of pain that the industry is going through, these steps might not be enough to, kind of address all of those issues at this particular moment, which is the requirement, immediate requirement of the industry. Is that right?
I can also give a very small example. It will
Yes.
make things clear for everyone. Say
Right.
I run a hotel. Now this hotel is closed, and looking at the scenario in the country, even if I open the hotel tomorrow, it is going to have a very poor footfall of
Right.
the people coming in to dine, or of the travelers who are going to travel and come and stay in the hotels. In such a case, even if the government is ready to provide me the extra loan, where do I use that money? If I have to use that money to pay off my expenses,
Right.
sooner or later, you will ask me to pay back this loan money also. And where do I get that money from? If I'm not breaking even and I'm not, making extra money by
Yes.
running the hotel. So it can be as simple as that.
Absolutely. Yes. You've really driven the point home very clearly. So
Yes.
moving on, yeah. As far as the RBI is concerned, would you like more steps from the Department of Financial Services or the RBI? Of course, RBI has reduced the CRR and the repo rate, but going forward, would or like you mentioned about the entire creating demand and all of those stuff. So, what are your expectations now?
So the first and foremost, getting the economy back to the normalcy will
Yes.
come at a cost, and that
Okay.
cost will not be bearable to many in the section of the society. Because say we talk about air travel, you know,
Yeah.
air tickets were available between Guwahati to Calcutta at 1,500 rupees a ticket.
Right.
Now, with social distancing to be maintained within the flight, I'm sure that every ticket is now going to be three times more costlier than
Right.
the earlier rate. So,
Yeah.
very few people will be able to afford that kind of air travel.
Yes. Yes.
And in such a case, government needs to come in and provide a viability gap funding to all such sectors, especially
Yeah.
the service sector, so that the 2 years or 1 year of the post-COVID scenario can be well managed by these in the service sector.
Right.
As far as
Right.
manufacturing sector we refer to, I'm giving you broad classifications.
Yeah.
The government has to ensure that the B2C market depends a lot on the consumption by individuals. So if the individuals need to have that consumption power, the
Yeah.
government needs to give money in their hand. And for that, whether it is rural, whether it is urban, there
Yeah.
should be sufficient channel of pumping in the money to their hands so that they are again not spending the loan money to buy their essentials, or
Right.
buy their regular stuff, but they are
Mm.
kind of having the money out of their earnings.
Yes.
So putting more money in their hand could also be by lowering the tax rates to the bare minimum, so that people actually have more money in their hand.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I hope you got my point.
Yes, absolutely. So finally, would like to know about the plans of SM Group going forward. How do you? What are your plans?
So we again have classified our businesses in service sector and manufacturing sector and the general trade and commerce. So both the manufacturing and the general trade and commerce, we are currently trying to be as good to the people in the company as much as
Mm.
possible.
Yeah.
Trying to have deferments in payment of salaries, but we will pay their salaries is a commitment.
Right.
When we talk about the service sector, the entire service sector has appreciated that there has to be uh, a curtailment in the payouts or in the
Hmm.
salary packages, because post COVID they don't see the sun shining on them very properly.
Right. Right.
So they have their own ways of recovering, which will be a very delayed recovery for the service sector.
Yeah.
On new businesses, we are
Yes.
definitely looking that how we can be more consumer driven businesses, so that if government puts in more money into the hands of the individuals, we are
Hmm.
able to also, you know through our team of people, launch
Yes.
a business, so that we can reach out to these consumers who have that spending power in their hands.
Right.
So,
Right.
so, so a lot of thinking time has been provided by the COVID-19, and we are
True.
trying to make good use of it.
Absolutely. So reinventing the way you all have been working and looking
Absolutely.
at yeah, out of box solutions for your consumers as well as your employees. I'm sure that is what you are doing at this point of time. It was
Yes.
wonderful speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time and all the best. Take care. Thank you once again. And thanks to all our viewers for watching. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Sentinel, and thank you, Anitam. All the
Thank you.
best to the viewers.
Yes.